Yes, here. I just wanted to talk a little bit more about powder coating. Ever since I put up that video that I believe is the first video on YouTube on how to use powder coating on bullets using a dry tumble system for application, I've had a lot of ongoing conversations, and I've cast thousands and thousands of bullets and powder coated them. And in the course of that, and friends on other YouTube channels and cast bullets and lots of commenters on my video, I've come to a few conclusions of things that would be helpful, and a number of people have asked me to do an update video that I'm finally getting around to. I should probably do better than I did, but I may as well get it up here. And to summarize the things that I think will make it better is the same things that I said in my original really long video. Powder coating wants to stick by static. The enemies of static are moisture and contaminants, be that dust or oil. Make sure all of your stuff that touches the bolts from start to finish is clean. And if you're having problems with getting the powder to stick, probably you've got a contaminant, or probably you have a powder that is not designed for this type of application. These powders are made to coat industrial machinery and tools, and most of them are designed for durability that isn't necessary for the application. Some of them, however, are designed to spread very thin and flow into fine detail. And those are described in terms of surface area per square inch, surface area per density, so this many square meters of coverage per gram, that kind of description. And they talk about filling small detail. They tend to be 400 Fahrenheit, 20-minute bake polyurethanes, or polyethylenes. There's a bunch of them. I'm not saying I know the best one, but I know that the ones of that description tend to work very well. And having tried a number of different powders and watched people fighting powders, some powders just work a lot better than others. If you're having problems, it really is worth your time and the very small investment of money to switch to something that's designed to do what you're asking it to do. The second bit is, you don't need to bake it all the way cured for what we're doing with it. We don't need a bullet to withstand abrasion in a workshop for years and years. We need it to just not get any lead on the bore. And there's some advantages to not baking it all the way. If you bake it most of the way, it'll still be either barely tacky to the touch or shiny and hard, but any bullets that are touching each other or the rack, if you jostle them around while they're still hot, will have a second for that coating to flow to fill in the detail where they were touching and sort out the little minor surface defects. I make sure to bake my bullets just a little under fully cured and take them out of the oven while the oven is still hot and shake them around and stir them around with either a clean wooden stick or a clean glove just to make sure none are touching each other. I usually keep a cardboard box that I've wiped out with an alcohol rag to drop them in, and I get really good results that way. I think, guys, we make this too hard and do a lot of stuff that actually adds defects with more work. Anyway, give this a try. So this batch of bullets would have to bake for approximately 20 minutes to fully cure. They've been in there for about 15. What I'm going for is basically 80% baked. So there will be just a very slight tackiness to it, or maybe not quite tacky to the touch. And I would knock them apart, so they'd still be able to knock apart, and the plastic coating would still be able to flow a little bit. And I may be a little bit under, or may be a little bit over. I'm getting used to this specific blend of polycoat, but it's usually around 16 minutes for a 20-minute cure stop. So let's take this out and watch it happen. Note that the oven is still on. So I have this batch. They're in a big pile. Sometimes I use a wooden scraper. Now our next complicated, and just check for any that might be stuck base to base that I'd want to toss back and leave them alone. My gloves are clean, so I'm not contaminating the look of the surface. This will get a slight speckled texture, and they won't be quite as shiny as if I left them alone, because I handled them while this stuff is still wet. But there won't be any particularly stuck bullets, and we won't have any bare spots, and we won't have any crusty stuff on the base like if you stood them up. This gives you better bullets very easily with no loss. It's also very time efficient.